And never ask what kind of content people want to see from you in a question box. Please don't. Please don't. That's never going to go well for you.
This is the Good Influencer Podcast with Julia Markham and Becca McLeod, pulling back the curtain of how this multi-billion-dollar industry works. If you're going to be an influencer, be a good one.
Welcome back to the Good Influencer Podcast. We have another Dear Influencers episode for you today. Now, if you're new to the podcast, Dear Influencers is when you guys send in questions about the industry and I answer them for you. And we have a lot to get to today, so let's dive in. I'm not wasting any time. First question, Dear Influencers, I would love to hear your best practices for keeping up with and responding to DMs, comments, and just generally engaging with your audience. I feel so bad when I miss a message or a bunch of messages and I don't respond until much later, if at all. I get really socially anxious. I either put away too much time crafting the perfect response and become emotionally drained, and then I don't have time to do anything else in the day. Or I'm anxious and overwhelmed to respond at all. I love my audience and I want them to feel my authentic appreciation for them. Okay, this is a really good question because I think, I remember years ago, there was an influencer who she was like, I just started posting and then all of a sudden I got an audience. And then all of a sudden my full-time job was responding to comments and DMs. And I do think community engagement is so important. I'm not going to belittle that, but I also think you have to work it into your day-to-day in a way that works for you. Now I have messaged influencers before that haven't messaged me back. I get it. They're not going to have time to respond to every single person. I also think you should let yourself off the hook with having to have like this really long drawn out response. If someone's asking for a resource or a link to something, just give them the link. You don't have to say, hey, thanks so much for your interest in this and your support. Here's the link. No, just send them the link. If someone wants a really long drawn out response to a question, they may or may not get that. And I think it's good to set that precedent from the beginning that people don't have that unlimited access to you, or else in the future, you may be kicking yourself of like, why have I trained my audience to expect answers from me to every single little thing? So I would give yourself maybe it's like right after you post every day, give yourself 30 minutes to respond to DMs, respond to comments. And then anything beyond that, you can choose to answer it the next day or it just doesn't get to. You just don't get to it at that point. Don't kill yourself over it. It is important, but like everything else, give yourself some work hours to actually get it done. Dear influencers, I know round robin giveaways. You all know how we feel about round robin giveaways. They were discussed, but I'd like to discuss the method creators are using for weekly giveaways in their stories. I follow several accounts who have grown by 50,000 a month on the high end. And the one thing they all have in common is that every day, the first story they share is a go like and respond to my last 5 posts and reels from last week and reply to the story with keyword to submit your entry for a chance to win $50, $100, even $200. And I'll announce the winner next Monday. They'll then start the entire giveaway over again the following week without a break. After they announce the winner from the following week, curious if this is something considered buying followers or not. Is it something we should include in potential ideas on growing our audience? 100% that's buying followers. It's the same concept as a round robin giveaway. You're just not involving other influencers. You're saying, go engage with my content and I'm going to pay you for it. So that's not authentic engagement at all. That's not engagement you're getting because you have this like really amazing post and such high quality content. That's engagement you're getting because you're offering someone $200 for it. And that's just, it's not going to get you organic followers. It's not going to get you organic engagement. And I want to paint a picture for you of, let's say you gain followers from this, you gain engagement from this, great. And then sponsors want to start booking you and they say, someone comes along, like, we want to pay you for your content. They do, you post it. You can't offer people $200 to go like and engage with a sponsored post. So any analytics you have on your media kit are not actually true analytics of the kind, like it's not actually a true reflection of the kind of analytics brands can expect from you because those are all incentivized. And so the brand is not going to be happy. They're probably not going to work with you again. And your monetizing options are very limited once you've written off all the sponsors you've worked with. So in my mind, that is buying followers. And I see this too, and I've seen it for years. And I mean, I think there's a way to do giveaways to your audience, for your audience, like thank them for being around. We do them occasionally where we just like, we're like, hey, you know what? If you're signed up for our email list, you're already entered to win. If you want to sign up to be entered, go ahead and sign up. Those are like very few and far between. And to me, a giveaway is different from paying someone to go and engage with your content. I know these things, and when we did this episode, we even said like they're enticing because you're going to see these people gaining followers and you're going to see them getting really high engagement. However, that is going to come to a complete stop whenever they stop paying people. And if you could look at their stats on the back end, their followers are like a revolving door because people are going to get tired. People get tired of feeling like they're being forced to participate online. This is the same reason, and this is not to the same degree, but I see a lot of influencers in their comments, like or in their captions. The first thing they say is like and save this, or like and share with a friend. I personally don't like when people do that. Not that like, if you tell me to do it, I think I have to do it. But your content should speak for itself. People should want to share it because it reminds them of someone, or it's such amazing content that somebody else has to see this. They should like it because they've connected with it. They should comment on it because they feel a special connection with it. It shouldn't be something that they're being paid to do, or they feel like they have to do because the influencer has kind of like forced them into it. So all that to say, on the front end, it looks like rainbows and ponies and butterflies. On the back end, I promise you, it's not something you're going to be able to keep up with. It's going to be $200 every week, and it's going to be very, very hard to make that back in affiliate revenue or sponsorships. It's just an investment at that point, and you're not going to really get anything back. I know it's enticing, but please don't do it. Please, please, please. Okay. Dear influencers, what percentage of your audience watches your stories, and what's a reasonable goal for percentage of audience that watches? I got so many story questions. Another one was, dear influencers, how can I increase my story views and create a more engaged audience? And I'm glad influencers are asking these questions because a lot of people write off stories. They're like, if I'm providing this value and feed, then it's bringing me followers, then why do I need to keep posting the stories? Well, one, part of growth is posting really high quality content on every avenue, and stories are one of those. That's 50% of the content on Instagram. And two, there's no point to gaining followers if you're not doing anything to keep them around. And that's what stories does. Showing up for your audience in stories every day makes them want to stick around. I just last week, and I mean, this happens all the time, but this girl popped up on my stories. And I'm like, who is this? Like, I do not remember following this person. I went to their page. I think it's someone I followed months ago from something that they shared on, like I found in the Explore feed, but they never posted to stories. And I never knew who actually ran the page. So when that person did show up months later, I'm like, I don't know who this person is, and I unfollowed. So showing up in stories and providing regular, engaging content is going to keep people around for a longer time. So the first question was percentage of story views. Now, there's a little bit of caveat to this. Industry average story views are around like 3 to 5%. But you have to think that also counts like business accounts and personal accounts and accounts where people aren't even really posting. So that's kind of, I would say on the lowest end, I would shoot for like 3 to 5%. We encourage people to shoot anywhere from 7 to 12% because that's where your maximum opportunities are going to be in creating a really highly engaged audience and maximum monetizing opportunities with affiliates and sponsors. If you can go to a sponsor and say, I have 12% story views, they're going to meet your rate, no problem. So I always tell people to shoot for 12%. Don't let yourself drop. If you drop below 5, then it's time to kick things into high gear. I also know, someone was saying, oh, I wanted to work with an agency. Someone in the mastermind was saying, I applied to work with an agency and they said that they require 13% story views. Now, that's going to be really common with agencies. Agencies look for influencers who are in their like tip top peak analytics because that's what they're pitching to brands. And it's so much easier to pitch an influencer to brands when they have those high analytics. They don't want an influencer on their roster with 2% story views because it's really hard to sell that to brands. So we shoot for 7 to 12 on the high end. And if anything drops below 5, we're like, okay, let's meet. What are we doing to get these story views back up? Now, how can I increase story views and create a more engaged audience? The key to creating high story views is 1, showing up every day, actually talking to your camera, and 2, providing resources in your stories that your audience can't find anywhere else, including your feed. If your stories are just full of things that you've already shared in your feed, then people have no need to check your stories. If every single one of your posts is comment for link, people have no need to check your stories. But making your stories the place where people get to talk with you face to face every day, they get all of your links, and they get a little BTS of whatever the post was that day, your story views are going to keep going up. I also, and we've talked about this, like, Instagram is kind of saying to taper back on the amount of stories you're posting every day, which is a newer thing. It used to be like, yeah, post as much as you can in stories because the more you post, like, the more likelihood people are going to see your content. I think Instagram is saying now to taper back because people just aren't spending as much time on stories. And so I would, instead of taking 10 stories, stretching your content out to be 10 stories, I would consolidate it into 5 and make them 5 really juicy, packed stories. And if you notice your story views are dropping, you may try that, map out, okay, what do I want to post on stories today? Does this need to go live? No, this can be posted tomorrow, or this can be posted the next day. I find myself having to do that on the Good Influencer page. And I know we do it on CLJ too, is our story views are really low. It doesn't make sense to post these other 2 links I had today. Let me just share a question box or a poll, things that really help with story engagement instead, and push those things off to another day. Right now, I feel like the best strategy for me has been to be constantly watching my story views. And if story views start dipping below, like I said, that 3 to 5%, then I just stop. I stop for the day and I restart the following day whenever all those stories have expired. And I think what that does is it just resets your audience instead of a continuous flow of information that's going out to less and less people every time. It just kind of stops the clock, resets everything, and then you can start the day fresh with a ton of new content. We'll do that when we're sharing, if we have a big announcement that we're going to put a link in, we want to make sure our story views are at the top. So we'll let things expire before, if we have anything that's like a question box we want to get a lot of answers on, we'll let things expire so we have those top numbers going. And I found that is able to keep our numbers more stable. Now, still, our top viewed story and our least viewed story, there is still a big gap between those every week, but that's okay. Things need to get posted. So I understand the influencer world has to keep turning. And sometimes it's not reasonable to say, well, I'm not going to post in stories for the rest of the day. And there are some days we can post 10 stories and they're all really high and that's great to see. But I'm always just keeping an eye on my story views. And if anything's dipping below that 3 to 5%, I just stop posting. I wait for them to expire and then start again the next day. I see a lot of people who just are constantly resharing content in their stories, everything that they're posting is a reshare. And that is a really easy way to turn people off of your stories. And if you are training someone that there's not a lot of value in your stories, they're going to stop watching, your bubble stops showing up, and it's really hard to get that back. You have to kind of earn it back from them. And so what you don't want is to lose that trust in stories. So make sure that you are providing links, you're providing face-to-face time, you're providing some BTS content they've never seen before. Make sure you're really focusing on documenting and not creating, like we've said. Don't feel like you have to sit down and plan out a ton of story content. Just document anything you're doing throughout your day that has to do with your niche. And we're going to come back to that in another question because that's what people want to see. They want to see the day-to-day. Your in-feed is more polished. It's more kind of the upfront, and stories are more of the behind the scenes, what people really want to be seeing. Okay, next one. Dear influencers, I have a page where I give advice and answer questions for women and girls younger than me. I'm their internet big sister. I just started out. I don't really have a lot of engagement yet, but I want to get engagement up so I can be way more focused on what my followers and viewers really want from me. How do I get engagement up, specifically in DMs, question boxes, and comments? Now, I think the thing in this question that I want to correct is that focusing on engagement and creating content that your followers really want to see and getting engagement are one and the same. So your focus should solely be on creating engaging content for your followers and to attract new followers. And from that, you're going to get the likes, the comments, the DMs, the question boxes. And so especially when you're in the beginning, I think you're going to have to try out some different things to really find out what you like creating, and that's okay. But I would always also spend a lot of time doing market research, which is spending time on Instagram, spending time on other platforms to see like what content is really big right now in my niche. What are people really drawn to right now? What content types? I am loving like the vlog style reels. Someone walking us through, a big project they're doing in their home in 5 parts, 5 reels, and they've cut it up into like these vlog style reels of like day 1 of painting my house, and they take you through the whole thing. Or, I'm looking for the perfect outfits for my upcoming Paris trip. Come to the mall with me. And they walk us through that. I'm really loving that content right now. And that's something you would only know by interacting as a user on these apps. And I would say go on Instagram, go on Pinterest, go on TikTok, spend 30 minutes a day just acting as a user on these apps to understand what are people really liking and engaging with. And also what kind of content are you most drawn to? That's so telling. Like creating engaging content comes down to what kind of understanding what kind of content you're engaging with most. And understanding engaging content across multiple platforms allows you to kind of stay ahead of what others are doing. I've said this before. I'll keep saying it. I still believe it. Trends hit TikTok 2 weeks before they hit Instagram. So if you want to do something trending on Instagram, don't wait until it hits Instagram, because people have TikTok, they've already seen it for 2 weeks. Go over to TikTok, see what's trending over there. What content types are people really into? Now, this is not to say your market research is just stealing content ideas from people, but the way to stay ahead of the algorithm, ahead of what people want to see, is by spending time on these algorithms and really, really seeing that. And that's when it starts to get really fun too, is you are like a trendsetter instead of just feeling like you're constantly behind on what people are creating on Instagram. When you are a newer account, we talked about a few episodes ago, it's hard when it feels like no one wants to be the first one to the party. Own it. Own it. Who cares if you're not getting DMs? You should still be sharing affiliate links. You should still be, showing up in stories. If you're not getting comments, ask a question in your reel or in your caption to get people to comment. Something that really helps to boost engagement is by engaging on other people's accounts. So for, 15 to 20 minutes after you post every day, go and comment on other accounts in your niche and leave really thoughtful, juicy comments. And that's going to pull more accounts over to your page that already have a vested interest in your niche because you're interacting in your niche. Question box responses. Here's one thing. I see a lot of people asking yes or no questions in their captions and in their question boxes, and people are not going to respond to yes or no questions. I see a lot of, a home account will do a little DIY in their house. And the question they ask is, do you like this? Would you do this in your house? I'm not responding to that. I'm not. It's not something I'm going to do. But, over Easter, we posted an Easter tablescape, and the question we asked was, you're invited to Easter dinner. What dish are you bringing? There's so many comments because everyone wants to share their favorite Easter recipe or like something that reminds them of home. And this is still a mistake I make sometimes when I post question boxes or I put questions in my captions, is that I realize like I didn't ask a question that people are excited to answer. I asked a question that's more serving me than serving them. And so stay away from yes or no questions. Stay away from comment if you liked my content or like asking people to comment, like I said before. And just really focus on like, okay, what can I say that people are going to be really excited to answer, or like it's controversial? Like the one I said of like, I'm going, like, come to the mall with me to shop for my trip to Paris. A question you could ask would be, what are your favorite walking shoes? People are really passionate about sneakers and their favorite walking shoes. So let them voice that. You could also say, where's your favorite place to shop for, winter jackets? When people feel very strongly about something, like where they shop or what they shop for, then they're more likely to comment. Also, like if you're asking for help in some area, people want to be able to help you. They want to be able to give their opinion. So those are great questions to ask. And never ask what kind of content people want to see from you in a question box. Please don't. Please don't. That's never going to go well for you. Okay, next question. Dear influencers, in a past episode, you mentioned that CLJ is focusing on growth again. But what does a growing account mean for views, reach, clicks, conversions? If you aren't growing, aren't all of your stats going to suffer? Great question. And if you haven't watched that episode, I encourage you to go back and watch it because, we kind of started out this year and Julia was just like, I'm very happy with where our audience is. Like my reason for showing up every day isn't to get more people in the door. It's to make sure that the people here feel very welcome and it's a place they want to hang out and they feel very invested and that I'm building a community. And so we kind of shifted our content from trying to grab new followers to let's post less, let's focus more on storytelling, let's focus more on stories and on the community we've already built. And so that's what we did. We started posting less, and we started just focusing more on engagement. And so, as for our views, our reach, our clicks, our conversions, it didn't hurt our clicks and conversions because we were still posting. We were posting more in stories. We were investing more time into the quality and curation of affiliates we were sharing, of the sponsors we were sharing. So that wasn't really affected. I think our views and reach were affected only because we weren't posting as much. And so those analytics were, it's not like they were bad, just we weren't going viral as often because we weren't putting out as much content. But the mindset that you're in, whether it's a growth mindset or an engagement mindset, is going to inform what kind of analytics you're really paying attention to. If you're really focused on growth, then reach and views are going to be huge analytics for you. And also new followers that you're gaining from every piece of content you're posting. If you're really focused on engagement, then likes, comments, impressions, link clicks, story views are going to be really important for you. You can do both of these things at the same time, but you really want to balance that. I see a lot of people where all of their in-feed posts are clearly trying to gain new followers. Every single one is an introduction, or, follow me because of X, Y, and Z. And when that's going out to your followers, it's like, well, I'm already following you. So what content are you creating for me who's been here? I've been around for a while. So you kind of have to balance that, which is what we're doing right now, which is posting more in feed so that we get that reach and the views, but also continuing to provide high quality content in stories, which is where those link clicks, conversions, engagement numbers come from. We also are posting trial reels, which is helping with the reach and the views. So that's really helping with growth. So it's really nice to focus on all of your analytics at once for everything to be high. And that's not necessarily always how things are going to be. Sometimes like our in-feed reach is so high, our story views are really low, or it's vice versa. And when everything is high, it's great. But if you notice things are low, focus on that specific analytic. If your story views are low, spend more time on the actual content you're posting in stories. If your conversions are low, then it's time to look at, okay, what kind of links am I posting? Are these serving my audience? Am I curating them enough? Or are these links that they're seeing on everybody's page right now? If your reach is low, it's time to create content that speaks to a wider audience in your niche. Or maybe recycle a reel that's already gone viral. If your impressions on and likes and comments on your content are low, then make sure you're asking a question in your caption. Make sure you're showing up in your content. Make sure that try out a vlog style reel so people can hear your voice and get to know your face. There's always things you can be doing in every one of those areas, which is why watching your analytics is really important. We start out our Monday meeting every week, and we talk about sponsorships and affiliates and collabs and good influencer, but we start out by going over the CLJ analytics every week, which is our story views, our reach, new followers we gained, and then that kind of informs, okay, what do we need to work on this week? Some weeks it's like, we got to work on everything. We got to work on every single one of these analytics. But some weeks it's like, oh, we only have to work on one thing. So tracking those analytics is just going to help kind of inform what you need to be giving more attention to, where your audience is feeling like they're not getting enough from you, which is really powerful as an influencer. Okay, this one was actually a photo someone sent. She said, "Dear influencers, I'm getting virtually 0 new followers from the content I'm sharing. I'm just curious if other creators are the same." This was after 5 years of posting content consistently. And you could see there was maybe 1 follower coming in from every reel. Others had 0. And when people say this, I'm not gaining any new followers, I go to their page and I look for a few things. 1, are they showing up in their content? 2, are they posting consistently in feed and in stories? And 3, are they a credible resource in their niche? And here's what I mean. If you are in the home niche and on your page, I never see a full room in your home, I don't feel like I can trust the content that you're sharing. If you're in the fashion niche and I go to your page and I never see just a full photo of an outfit you're wearing, I don't feel like I can trust you in the fashion niche. And I see this so often that I think it's something that people, and I mean, I do this also, is people just assume oh, well, you've seen my living room before, or you've seen a full outfit before, so you're good. You can trust me. Let's move on. I don't have to show you that again. But you have to think about the people who are coming to your profile every day. And so say I see, you did this cool DIY project where you made this paper mache vase. And I'm like, oh, I really like the style she did that vase. That was a really cool DIY. I'm going to try to let me go check out her page. And you're a home account, but I never actually get to see your home or a full room in your home. I can't trust you as a home creator because I don't actually get to see your home. Also, really zoomed in vignettes of a place in your home or an outfit you're wearing are never going to perform as well as a pulled back photo of your full body or a full room in your home. And that's where the credibility comes in. And that's where I see a lot of influencers kind of lacking. We have posted the CLJ living room has been featured in feed thousands of times. But every time there's a different caption, or maybe Julia's in it this time, or maybe all the kids are in it, or it's decorated for the holidays. There's always a different take. But when your content becomes recognizable, what's in your content. So your home becomes recognizable, your designs, your outfits, your vacations, your photo editing, all of that becomes recognizable. You are going to grow faster and your engagement is going to go way up because people are going to recognize you and you have so much credibility for it. So go look at your feed. And if you are not posting, the full picture of what your niche is, it's going to be incredibly hard to grow. If you're a home creator, look at the last time you posted a photo, whether it's a reel cover or a carousel of a full room in your home. And if it was more than 2 posts ago, it's time to post one. If you're a fashion influencer and you haven't posted a full body picture or a reel cover of an outfit you created, it's time to go check on that. If you are in the cooking niche and you've never posted a photo or a reel cover of a dish you've made, it's time to do that. That is where your credibility is coming from, and consider like when people come to your page from the Explore feed, they're really giving you like 2, maybe 3 seconds to impress them or they're moving on. And so if they have to scroll to find any of that credible content, they're going to be out and it's going to be hard to get them back. So make sure that your credibility is front and center, that people can see this is what I'm creating, this is my style, and here's what you can expect from my account, that they aren't just seeing these kind of zoomed in portions of your niche and then they have to fill in all the holes for themselves. That's a big one. And we've talked about showing up before. If I go to your page, someone's page, and I don't know who runs the page, I'm either not following or I'm going to follow. And then the second they show their face, I'm out because I don't remember them. So make sure you're showing up in your content and make sure that you're posting consistently. Make sure, it's hard to say, I don't have any I'm not gaining any followers, but you're only posting twice a week. We just did that. If you watch that episode, we just did that. And we were hardly gaining any followers. And it's well, yeah, we've only been posting 2 to 3 times a week. What did we expect? And so those are 3 really big things to check on. Are you showing up? Are you posting consistently in feed and stories? And are you a credible resource in your niche? Is that credibility front and center? And I think you're going to grow from that. I think you're going to notice those things changing. And I think really everything we've kind of talked about today are these checks you can do on yourself of am I growing? How are my analytics looking? Are people engaging with my content? And if not, taking a look in the back end to look at your content, look at your analytics. Well, where are my holes? Where can I fill in? Because we've said this before, there is always something you can do. If you're not growing, if you're not seeing the engagement, there's always something you can be doing. And content creation should be fun. You should feel it's a challenge. And, I just found this, my engagement is low, but I just found this really fun, exciting new piece of content that I'm excited to create and push out. And I think my engagement is going to skyrocket because of it. Put the power back in your hands. There's always something you can be doing. You control your content. Your followers control the algorithm, and working together, you're going to be unstoppable. And that's all I have for you guys. I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Until next time, follow us on YouTube and Instagram at Good Influencer. And if you're ready to join a whole community of influencers growing organically and getting paid to do what they love, join the Good Influencer Mastermind by visiting our website, good-influencer.com. If you're going to be an influencer, be a good one.